In this video, Everett is going to share with you how he was able to go from zero to $78,000 in trading profits within less than 120 days. I know that sounds completely unrealistic, but it is the absolute truth. And Everett is going to share with you his journey, his experience, and his perspective of becoming a profitable trader. The goal of this video is to motivate and inspire you and to show you that anyone can become a profitable trader as long as you're ready to work hard, as long as you're disciplined, and you have the right framework for success. 5 years ago, my father mentored me on how to trade, and it completely changed my life. And it is honestly an honor and a privilege to carry on his legacy and help mentor others. By the way, before we start the interview, I have hundreds of hours of free education online, not only on this YouTube channel, but also in my free 10+ hour trading course that is genuinely better than most paid courses on the internet. You could start my free course, combine it with everything that I teach on my YouTube to build the foundation for your trading. You can find my free course in the description of this video. Let's not waste any time and let's hear Everett's perspective. Alrighty, Everett. Thank you for coming on today. This has been an interview that we've been wanting to do for a while. And I guess first off, just for everyone who's watching this, who's not familiar with your situation, who doesn't know you, can you kind of introduce yourself? I mean, obviously they know your name is Everett, but just some information about you, like what got you into trading, what made you pursue trading, what were your goals, and just kind of like a little bit about you, essentially.
My name's Everett Bates. I'm 21. So what kind of initially got me into trading was just seeing your social media. I just kind of saw you on social media. I'd always kind of been interested in trading. I had a little bit of like small options trading history for like a few months. I didn't really know what I was doing, but kind of knew a little bit about trading, not really though. And then obviously saw your Instagram, just happened to see your Instagram about almost a year ago now, I guess. And so yeah, I kind of just dove into that from there. So I was doing an internship at the time. I was going into my junior year of college, and kind of like a slow season in internship. I know how, probably how that goes. Like most people do internships, they kind of just get busy work. And so kind of was in like a busy work season. It was towards the end of my internship, so I wasn't doing a whole ton. And I saw your stuff and started to try the free course just to kind of see what it was about, like learn a little bit. I knew that even if I didn't do it, I knew that I was gonna like learn a lot from your free course, like learn about trading or about stocks or whatever. And I've been wanting to learn about that a little bit more in depth anyways. And so I did that and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was like super simple. I liked the way that you taught, and it kind of just made sense to me. So that's kind of when I decided that I wanted to take it a step further. It's actually funny because Yuri actually kind of put me on because I think I had messaged like the free community or something asking a question, and he was like, "Hey, just like DM me on Discord or whatever." And so like, I DM'd him on Discord and we started talking. This is like kind of right after the time he had started too, so he like had a lot of good things to say, and some history obviously with you. So he kind of like gave me a positive mindset on kind of how it would all go and what I was getting myself into. So yeah, then I decided to buy the university first, and I did that for probably about a month. So I watched the university in probably 4 days. I was like grinding it. I was like at work, slow season was just like 8 hours a day, just like grinding out videos. Because I was really, first of all, I was really interested, but also like it was fun to like watch, like to like learn and like watch from you, and see like your experience and stuff like that. And so watch that. And so yeah, that's kind of like what got me into it, I guess you could say. But yeah.
hmm Awesome. That's awesome. Can you kind of go over, I guess, so you mentioned you did the university first, and then
Mhm.
after that you hopped into the mentorship. Can you kind of explain your journey in terms of kind of like step by step, like when you started paper trading, then starting with real money, and kind of like how that process was in the first, let's say, like 1 to 4 months of you, after you finish the university, now you're live trading, like what that process looked like, how obviously everyone wants to know kind of like your results and how well you've been doing and the process kind of leading up to that.
Yeah. So I kind of have a pretty interesting situation just because I'm in college, and at the time I was going into my junior year of college, and obviously didn't have a ton of capital, so it was kind of hard starting out. Like I mentioned, I did the university, probably did that for like a month, and was like, at the time you were just doing live trading on like Fridays. So I would tune in on Fridays and like live trade with you, mostly just watching because I knew I wanted to like soak up like your thought process and like how you did everything. So I did that for like about a month and was kind of paper trading on the side. I was taking like 3 or 4 trades a day, but I was like throughout like the whole market open, I was like watching stocks and like watching how they moved and stuff like that. And so I did that until, so the timeline is kind of like I got the university like right beginning of July of 2024. And then I think I guess it was about a month and a half, like late August, I decided to join the mentorship. So I kind of saw some like decent results, pretty good results with paper trading, just kind of like by myself and also with the live trading on Fridays. And so I decided to join the mentorship and I kind of put like everything I had into it, like all my money at the time. Um, and kind of just went all in because I knew from the way I am is like if I put all my money and my investments into something, like I have to do it. Like I feel like I'm pretty good when I put my mind to something, but sometimes like, you can get kind of lazy or procrastinate or whatever. And I knew it was going to be, I would have to put my time and effort into it on the side of going to college, playing basketball in college, all that type of stuff. So kind of decided to just invest everything I had into it, um, with no really thought of how it would all turn out. Obviously, I'm happy I did that now, but so yeah, then I kind of have a long story, so just like bear with me a little bit here. But so then I start paper trading on TradingView for probably like a month or so, like in the mentorship, just like gaining experience. And my idea with how I was going to get capital was through a prop firm. So like I didn't tell my parents or anyone that I was trading because obviously like we've talked about this a lot, but it's usually not very beneficial when you kind of tell everyone or
Mhm.
give people, not saying you shouldn't tell your parents things, but you know what I'm saying, like it just causes a lot of distractions on the side. And I never really thought my parents would give me money for it, so I was like, might as well just like grind it out on the side. Long story short, did 2 prop firm challenges. I think both of them failed. Knowing now, like the way we trade, the prop firms don't really make a ton of sense. It's super hard, and they kind of like gear you to not pass them. Like they put a bunch of limitations on them and stuff like that. So super hard with the style of trading that we do. So that was probably up until like late October, maybe early November. I had done like 2 challenges because they're like 45-day challenges, and so I failed both of them. Still like had no money to my name really. Like broke college athlete, like basically just getting by. And then I decided to take a little bit of time off. It was like entering November. I started paper trading for a few more weeks maybe, and then this is kind of when trading actually started to pick up because I think it was after the election and trading got really good. But I had actually decided to take some time off just to focus on, it was like finals time and the basketball season was starting. So we were doing a bunch of traveling and it was just like super hard. And I just failed both challenges. So I kind of lost a little bit of motivation, you could say. I wasn't done with trading, but I just knew I wanted to take a little bit of time off and just focus on things that were kind of right in front of me. And so I did that and I kind of took a break through finals, through Christmas break. I went on a few vacations, was still playing basketball through all this, and then decided I was going to pick it up kind of right when I got back to school for the spring semester. And so I came in with like a pretty fresh mindset. I was like, okay, this is also the time when like trading was really good. So like I was seeing all the results and stuff, and I was getting pretty, upset because I was like, this could be me, whatever. But my goal when I came back was like, okay, I'm gonna paper trade because there's really no way I can get money. Like I can't work. I'm like tied up with basketball and school and stuff like that. So my idea was I'm gonna paper trade for however long it takes to get some substantial profits, just like to show my parents that it's possible. I've been doing it for a while, and obviously try to convince them that to give me money basically. And so I did that for like a month. I paper traded with like $50 risk, and I made like $11,000 in like a month with paper trading on Thinkorswim. And so I did that, and it was like spring break, and I was coming home, and I was like, my whole idea was like, I'm gonna come home, like present this idea to my dad. And so I kind of just did, and it just worked out. He had a ton of questions, and I did not think he was gonna want to fund me, but um, I kind of just convinced him, and my mom as well, obviously. And so, yeah, they gave me the money. I think like a week after that, like kind of right when I was coming back to school after spring break, funded my account. It was like late March, like March like 24th or something like that. I think it was a Monday, and yeah, and then I started trading full time with the mentorship. And then as far as profits go, so my first month I did $40,000, which is pretty crazy. Um, Pretty life changing, obviously going from like nothing to 40K. Is thinking back on it is wild. So that was that was April, I guess you could say. I did $6,400 in March, which was like the last week of March, basically, and then I did $40,500 in April. This is all with fees taken out, obviously, and then May I did $15,500. It was a bit of a slower month. I also went on vacation. I went to Vegas in May. It was a little bit better. It was like earnings, but it was a pretty down earnings. I think we both think so. And then June was really slow. I did 13,000, but still obviously crazy money. As I'm still pretty early on in my risk in my trading, it's pretty wild. So I've done total. I've made, let me look, about $78,000 in about 3 months, I guess. So it's pretty crazy, obviously, but still looking to do a lot more in my trading journey for sure. Sorry, that was a little bit long-winded,
That's
but I wanted to get
insane. I
everything out
mean,
there.
honestly, I gotta like just say congrats. Like honestly, I think for you, what was really very respectable and impressive is the fact that like most people that go into trading, and this is ultimately why I think a lot of people fail, is that they just want to make money quickly. But you were kind of really invested into the process of becoming profitable because you had to wait so long until you got funded. You
Yeah,
had to prove to your parents that, hey, I'm making money consistently with paper trading. I'm approaching this like a professional. So congrats, honestly, because most people, a lot of people, they would just kind of give up and be like, okay, this isn't possible. They just want to make quick money, but you kind of really stuck with the process. And, and you worked hard. Like you asked me a lot of questions, even when you were paper trading, like you stayed motivated,
hmm
and you weren't discouraged. So, I mean, good on you, bro. Honestly, like you earned it to like fully, you know
thank you,
what I mean?
brother.
Like it
It's
took a
all
long
it's all because of
time.
you though, but I appreciate it.
Like of course I try my best to help and like obviously like I'm the mentor, but ultimately, I could do my best job mentoring, but unless the student is all in on their success, it's never going to happen. You know what I mean? So it's that
Yeah,
combination with the good mentorship plus that all in type of approach and full commitment. And that's when, where you're an example of this and the other students, they get like crazy results. So,
hmm
and it's just crazy. I feel like it's a nice feeling knowing that like your first month of getting funded, you saw all of that work kind of
yeah,
materialize into profits. Like even if you made 10K that month, it would have been insane. You made 40, which is like
yeah,
that's ridiculous.
yeah. It's wild.
So I mean, what was your parents' response after all this? Because I'm sure they were probably like skeptical a little bit. Like after you told them, were they kind of like just like shell shocked?
Yeah, they definitely were. I mean, my dad's like naturally a really conservative person, so like trading definitely isn't like up his alley. But like I said, I kind of just convinced them, and then so like I didn't really tell because I'm in college obviously, so I wasn't like living with them or anything. But I kind of just like let the first few weeks go because I was kind of making like insane money. Like I think I made probably like 20K in the first like 2 or 3 weeks or 25K maybe. And so I kind of like didn't say anything. They were like initially the deal was they give me money and then like every week I would tell them how much I'm making or whatever. And I was gonna do that, but I was like I kind of wanted to hold off because I was making so much to just like kind of pour it on them at one time. So like I think like week three, my dad had like called me just like check up and he's like, hey, like how's trading going by the way? And I was like, yeah, like I made like 30,000. He was like, revenue or profit? And I was like, yeah, like profit. He's like, there's no way, that's insane. And so obviously he's gotten way more interested in it recently just because of how I'm doing. And while I'm home for the summer, he has been like watching me every so often and like kind of watching how we trade and stuff like that, which is really cool to see him get interested in it as well. Not necessarily to trade for himself, but just like to see like the different avenues of making money and how you can make money at a young age, obviously in in this economy. So it's really cool. And so now they're super interested. Like every day, they always ask me like how much I made or like how the trading environment is and stuff like that. So it's cool to like see the kind of flip for me and then for my parents as well. To
Hmm.
they always believed in me. Obviously, like they wouldn't have given me the money if they didn't. But it's a different level when you have like profits to back up your thought process. It's not just paper trading profits. So it's really cool. And kind of a full circle moment for me for sure.
That first 3 weeks when you were trading, do you remember what month was that again?
It was like the last week of March and then the first 2 weeks of April when like the market like crashed
Oh yeah,
and it
yeah.
was
I
really
remember
good.
the first
Yeah.
2 weeks of April were like elite because I had like a really
You had like
good
a
week.
13, 14K day or something. It was
I
wild.
I think that first week, I think I had a $29,000 week. So I remember we
Yeah,
were
it was
calling
crazy.
that, yeah, that stretch of time. It was late February and then late March, March, April, yeah, and then the first 2 weeks of April. I remember were elite. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
honestly like I think probably a lot of people might like be listening to this and be like how is it even possible? Like first few weeks of live trading, but with the style of trading we do, and we are very like high frequency traders. Like I people always ask me like, oh, like how much money you have to put up for that, right? And it's like
Yeah.
we first of all we get additional buying power, but we do so many trades throughout the day, especially in a high opportunity environment where you catch a couple of nice trades, especially like even if you're a beginner, like in your case you were still paper trading, you probably raised your risk a little bit because everything was working. Like it was just an insane
Yeah.
environment. And it's good that like you put in that work. So like when you did have all those opportunities come to you, you were able to actually capitalize. So it's
Hmm.
sick. That's awesome. And I know it did kind of slow down, but
Yeah, that
which
was kind of hard, I think, with like obviously it was super good and obviously that's great. But then when the environment kind of comes to a halt because it was April, so it wasn't even I mean it's probably gonna be like a fine month, but I think May was when we expected like earnings and like everything to kind of really pick up.
yeah.
So I remember going for my 40K month in April, I was like, oh, like we have earnings coming up too. So it's like I'm gonna make that or even more. And obviously it was a bit of a down April and I also was like on the road a lot traveling and stuff. So didn't obviously still made $15,500 or whatever, but definitely was a bit of a letdown as far as like the profits come. So it was a bit hard like adjusting to slower environments, adjusting to making less like daily or whatever. But I feel like in the last month or so, I've kind of like really came around to the idea of like you always preach, sitting on your hands in slow environments, taking it easy, not putting all of your hopes and all of your happiness into the profits of a day or a week or whatever, and kind of looking at the long term because like this is our job, this is our future. It's not you're not going to make all your money in one week. You're not going to make the same amount of money every day. Like that's the negative of trading, I guess you could say, is the money fluctuates. Um, so kind of just keep wrapping your head around slower times, and then obviously capitalizing on the really good times like we did in April was
Hmm.
is kind of like where you make your money and how you maximize your profits.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, May and June. May I thought was okay, definitely a little bit slower. But then
Hmm.
June, and then now July has been definitely just
Yeah,
like most of the days I literally just barely, I literally just sit, I just don't trade. I'm like
yeah,
just, I sit on my hands.
it's tough.
I took like three trades yesterday, and like they
Yeah,
like I was small size, so that's good. I mean, okay, so I got a question for you. What would you say was like your biggest obstacle in your trading, the biggest challenge in your trading that you personally experienced? Because everyone is a little bit different when it comes to that learning curve. And how would you say like the mentorship and being in the live trading, how has it helped you like overcome that challenge?
yeah. That's a good question. I would say one of the hardest things, which is also one of the best things, is the community. Because obviously the benefit of it is that you have a bunch of people in there calling out plays, like-minded, wanting to make money, and like you kind of grow and push each other. But the negative, I guess you could say, is kind of the comparison that you fall into with like, oh, this guy made this much today, this guy made this much this month. Um, so I feel like kind of the comparison early on was kind of tough, especially when I was paper trading because these guys are making like insane amounts of money, you included, and I'm just sitting here making fake money, like with no idea of how I'm
Right.
going to get money in the future. So it's like that was kind of a tough thing for me early on. And I think that's kind of why I needed to take a bit of a break after I failed both prop firm challenges, which is because like it was a lot mentally on the top of I had a lot of stuff going on. So it was like that was kind of a big challenge for me for sure. And then as far as like actual trading goes, I would say maybe kind of what I talked about with like sitting on your hands in slower environments, not over trading, and kind of like taking what the markets give you. I think you always say that, and that's like super, super head on is taking what the markets give you. If the markets give you a good environment with a bunch of setups, then you take that. If the markets give you less setups, but a bunch of follow through, then you sit on your hands and you wait for those setups. If the market gives you not a ton of setups and like no follow through, then you sit on your hands or you take profit super early or whatever. So it's like adjusting to whatever the market gives you. I think was one of the harder things. Not necessarily that I like super struggle with it or anything, but I think that was one of the biggest learning curves. Was like when I figured that out, it kind of like kickstarted the way I trade, and obviously the profits followed that as well. So I'd say that was probably one of the biggest things for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's like a big, actually, kind of a struggle with a lot of people is that
Yeah,
they tend to like compare themselves, especially in the
yeah,
beginning. I mean, me included. Like, there's been times in my career where I've compared myself, not just in trading, just in life. Like, and it never serves you well. Like, it's just better to compare yourself to who you were yesterday and then use other people's, I guess, results or progress more as like motivation. Like, okay, if he can do it or she
yeah,
can do it, I can do it. And like, but it's hard because it's money and we all want to make money. So when you see someone else making money, especially in your case, you literally just you weren't in the situation where you had the capital. So
yeah,
it's kind of like, it's not even your fault almost. And you're kind of like, damn, like, I I could be that, but I need to raise the capital. But like you did, right? So
hmm
like you actually stuck with it. So that's awesome. I guess I one more question I have, like, how has your life kind of like, have you noticed any differences in your life, or like have you improved your lifestyle, or kind of like what has been the biggest kind of change in your life since like all of a sudden you've become a trader and you're like now you're seeing amazing results?
yeah. I mean, for sure. I think that's one of the first things. I mean, obviously, I'm still 21 years old, so it's like it's kind of crazy the amount of money I'm making and like have now versus like literally 4 months ago. I had like nothing to my name. Obviously, like enough to get by, but like I'm a college student. Like I don't have an income, and can't really work or anything. So it's kind of crazy to see like all the money, and obviously that kind of changes the way you think about money and the way you maneuver daily. But yeah, it's been super nice because like I said, like I went to Vegas for a few days in May with some of my boys, and it's like didn't even think about like the plane tickets, anything like the gambling. It was like obviously I go with the amount of money I'm willing to lose when I'm gambling, but it's like super nice to just not really have to worry about like where my like if I spend money on this meal, it's like oh like then I can't buy any more meals for the rest of the week. It's like I just have to eat at home, like you know what I'm saying. So it's
Yeah.
like it's kind of a weird thing to kind of quick kickstart that super fast, going from kind of one way of thinking to like a completely different realm of thinking. And so like obviously with trips, with going out to dinners, with going and doing fun things, it's like you don't have to really think about it as much. Obviously, I don't have like an insane amount of money or anything, but at my age, it's kind of like I feel like I'm doing really well for myself and have set myself up really well for the future. Um, and so yeah, it's like it's definitely a crazy feeling, and obviously money's not everything, but it does add on to things you already have for sure. So
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. I remember, I think a lot of people like fall into the whole like, oh, you could like get fancy cars and like watches and all this stuff and like the materialistic stuff. Like, and I've never really been like that. Like, I don't even go shopping. Like, honestly, like, ugh, like I
yeah,
barely even shop. My girlfriend needs to like force me to go and buy myself stuff. But like, I think I remember the first thing. Like, I love going out to eat. Like, I love going to restaurants.
yeah,
That was like the biggest change, like being able to go out to eat and not like worry about like, oh, I mean, when I started, like my parents would help me and stuff. It's like kind of weird. Like I'm like 20, 21. Like I'm not trying to have like I don't want to use my parents' credit card, right? So it's
yeah,
like, and having that freedom to kind of just like go eat wherever you want. Like that was the biggest change for me. Just like the little things, like peace of mind and stuff. So that's awesome. I mean, I guess my last question for you is, what was your favorite part about the mentorship? I mean, you kind of already explained this. And then what would you say to someone who's maybe considering jumping into the mentorship, or, or just getting into trading and learning, kind of what would be the first thing that you would tell that person?
Yeah. Um, so I'd say my favorite thing about the mentorship obviously is the community. I think that's like an insane added benefit on top of your mentoring, like one on one every day for multiple hours a day. I think having a community where you can bounce ideas off of, learn from each other, motivate each other, push each other, I think it like adds a completely different level to your trading, a completely different level to like the way you view trading. You see like other people doing things, or taking certain setups or their lifestyle after, you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely an incredible benefit to have on top of you. So I definitely say the community. I think that's kind of cliche though. I've seen a bunch of interviews and people say the same thing, but I think it's so true. Like the second you join, you realize how how much it helps you and how much it can kind of propel you to the next level, bouncing ideas off people and stuff like that. And obviously, you learn a lot from other people's questions or other people's mistakes or things they do well. So it's really cool. And then I'd say, what was the second part of your question? Oh, if someone wanted to join, I'd say, um, I mean, I got to give a shout out to Yuri for this one because he kind of pushed me to join. Obviously, this is like way early on. Like he was still super early in his trading, but he really was like, "Hey, like this is legit. Like I'm making at this time. I don't think he was making. He's maybe paper trading still, but he saw like the benefits of it and like the money you could actually make and how real it really is, and how genuine you of a person you are and a mentor you are. And so he kind of just really pushed me to do it. And I mean, I couldn't thank him more for doing that for me and like changing my life completely. And so I'd do the same thing for anyone else. It's actually funny. My teammate and roommate Nick just joined, I think a
Mm-hmm.
few days ago, and I was telling him the same thing. Like he's been paper trading, and I kind of like taught him a little bit how to trade. And I was like, dude, like this is. It seems like a lot of money. It seems like an investment, which obviously it is. And a lot of people, like for me, for instance, like I put everything I had into it as an investment, but I mean, it pays itself back in abundance with how much you learn, how much you grow, and then obviously setting yourself up for as a trader for the future. Like it's really insane. The return on investments through the roof. And so I told him that, and obviously he's super happy he's joined. And so yeah, I mean, I would tell the same thing to anyone else. If you're on the fence, like obviously do your homework. Like don't just throw your money in anything. But I think the results speak for themselves. You can watch all the interviews. You can watch your Instagram stories and see how much you're making. Like you're the most like truthful and honest and transparent trader there is. And so there's really nothing to question about your character or your transparency. So I think it kind of speaks for itself for sure.
I appreciate that, bro. Thank you. That was always like
Yeah.
my goal, just to be, again, transparent, like honest. Um, and yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, that's all the questions I had. I mean, I just want to say like congrats, bro. Like, again, you did it for yourself. Like you went all in, you got the results. And it's really only the start, right?
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I guess, do you have any questions for me that I can like answer, or anything on your mind?
I don't think so. I mean, I guess one question I might ask just to keep the conversation going was, what's some things like you're looking to do in the future as far as like either business or like things that you're trying to improve in your life or add on? Because I feel like you're always kind of trying to add things
Hmm.
and develop yourself and stuff like that. So like, what are some things you're looking to do in the near future, maybe?
For sure. It's a good question because like for me, I'm someone that I find happiness in like building and like
Yeah.
improving, and like I get really demotivated, and I get almost like unhappy when I'm not doing something and when I don't have a direction. So like one thing that I wanted to do with like my university and the mentorship is to make it a little bit more all encompassing, where obviously like I'm a really good trader and like I'm good at mentoring and I'm teaching people, but like I want people to come into it and not only just have me for stocks, but let's say someone else for futures, someone else for options, like other really high caliber coaches and mentors, where you can go into the university, for example, and like not just learn stocks. You could do stocks one day, then futures another day, and options, depending on what you want. And
Hmm.
it's just like all encompassing. Maybe even crypto, where like it's just a actual full on legitimate university. Because the way I see it is like, and like the way I structured the investment for the mentorship is I do compare it to like an alternative to college, and I want other styles of trading in the university to be the same way, where people can go into the university and it's literally like a college, and it's like a legitimate college. It's not just like a random trading group. Like no, like you come in and you have like legitimate coaches and mentors. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I want to expand that, and then my next big project, honestly, and this is what I'm going to be grinding on this weekend is, and I honestly almost don't like to say things in advance because I'm someone who likes to just work and then show people after, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm really interested in like building some sort of trading AI where it doesn't trade for you, but some sort of AI project around trading that could essentially like an AI trading assistant where, because for a lot of people, maybe they don't have a mentor. Maybe they need help on a more personal level, where I feel like the direction that AI is going in, AI could be that helper. I mean, we're already like my AI helps me with so much stuff in my life, right? For just in general stuff. Imagine like an actual specialized trading AI. I think that would be such an amazing idea. Um, and I feel like I have obviously the community. They'd be the first people to like have access to it and test it, right? So and see what we can improve on. So like that's what I'm going to be working on this weekend, and like conceptualizing this, and have something that can just genuinely provide value to people for their own trading, regardless of the style of trading they're doing. So and I think AI and crypto right now are the most asymmetrical bets you can make. And I'm like kind of all in. I'm trying to go all in on both. You know what I mean? But that's basically my vision. So yeah, and then and I'm already kind of finding other traders to add into the program too. Like I added
Yeah.
an options guy. Now I'm talking on adding other good traders that could provide more call outs and more analysis to help, in case anyone wants to do futures or options.
Yeah.
But I would say
That's
that,
cool.
yeah, that's basically, but it's very early, right? Like this is kind of like
Yeah.
my direction, but we'll see.
It's a seed right now.
It's a seed right now, exactly, exactly. But yeah, obviously, but still, the first priority is always the mentorship. It's more just
Yeah.
making it better and making it just even better than it is, honestly.
I feel like I got to give you props for that too, because I've seen like you kind of grow the mentorship, obviously with like the number of people, but also I feel like the quality and the substance is like taking it, because I've been around for a while, like since late August, I think. So like I've seen kind of like the different iterations of the mentorship. Not that necessarily that's changed a ton, but like obviously you make small changes here and there. The style that you mentor, all that sort of thing kind of changes and evolves. So I got to give you a lot of credit for like constantly wanting to improve it, and like make taking the students first. I feel like in a lot of senses, and and really just yeah, like putting your mind into mentoring and putting your efforts into mentoring. I feel like that's a huge thing that a lot of people lack in the trading space, is like that guy that really is looking out for you and is going to like walk with you until you see success, really. So
I
I
appreciate
appreciate you
that.
for
Yeah,
that.
that's my number one goal, honestly, because I
Yeah.
think there's, unfortunately, in the trading space, which on one thing it's a bad thing, but on the other thing it's actually an advantage for me. Is because most people out there are really disingenuous. Like they just want to make money. Like they're not actually
Yeah.
like invested in their students. Where like I genuinely care. I really do. I try to like go above and beyond for everyone, especially in the live trading and stuff. Where
Yeah.
I feel like that's the ultimate edge that I have, and like and my vision is to build like literally like a Harvard level university for all styles of trading.
Hmm.
That's my goal, and I feel like there's just nothing really out there like that. That's like really
Yeah.
super
There's not.
professional, but then also like we also mix in a bit of fun too, like in the chat. Like it's like a good
Yeah.
balance right now. So yeah, that's the long term vision.
That's
But
exciting, bro. It's really exciting.
I appreciate it for sure, for sure. All right, awesome, man. I mean, that's all the questions I had. I really appreciate you coming on and like sharing your story. I know you were most of my students, I know you were really like motivated to also do the interview, because like I'm sure when you first started, you wanted to do the interview and you're like, hey, I want to get to the point where I'm even like, I
Yeah.
have enough profits or I'm worthy enough to do it. And like, and this is something you really wanted to like do. So like, I love it. Like, good job. Like, you basically, most people are literally like, my goal is to earn an interview. So, and you did it.
Yeah.
So, obviously,
Yeah,
thank
for
you for
sure.
coming on. And I'm just looking forward to like seeing where you're going to be in like 6 months to a year.
I appreciate it, bro. I'm excited for that as well. Yeah, and thank you, obviously.